All right, continue with the Unit 2 review for Algebra 2. We got cut off on the middle of question 20 here, but so here's the question. It wants me to find the x and y intercepts. And the main thing we got to remember here is this technique to do this. And it says, and this is where I gave you a little quote to hopefully help you remember. And this is make the other one 0. So if you ever look at an intercept, if I'm on the x-intercept or the y-intercept, the other one is 0. So what I mean by that is if I want to find the y-intercept, that's when the x value is 0 and vice versa. So I went ahead and plugged in a 0 for the x, and this will give me the y-intercept. And so I work this out and I get y equals -4. Remember, intercepts are technically coordinate points. So the actual answer is the coordinate point 0, -4. Remember, I made the x value, and x always goes first. So if I want to find the x-intercept, right, the y value has to be 0. So I'm going back to my original equation. I'm going to make that equal 0. Okay. So I got to solve for x now to find the x-intercept. Okay. And then x equals -4. Okay. And there you go. And remember, I got to write this one now. Remember, make sure you put the right value first. The x goes first. All right. Let's go ahead and look at question 22. Same directions. So looking at question 22, I'm looking at 2x minus 3y plus 6 equals 0. I know that looks a little bit weird. I could move the 6 over. It doesn't really make a difference. I still just want to make the other one 0. So I'll go ahead and do that just to save myself a little step at the end here. So subtracted 6 to both sides. That's how I got that 6 there. So it looks a little more like I'm used to. So finding my x-intercept, I'm going to make y 0. So plug it in right there, and I get 2x minus 3 times 0 equals -6, and I get 2x equals -6 divided by 2, and x equals -3. Now on the test, sometimes they write it like this, but remember, technically intercepts, right? To give you a little bit of a graphical representation of that, if this was a coordinate plane and I had a line, that's the x-intercept. It's the point at which it crosses the x-axis, so it has to be a coordinate point. I want to find the y-intercept, and that's where my x value is 0. And I'm looking at 2 times 0 minus 3y equals -6. I get -3y equals -6, dividing by -3, and y equals +2. And so that's my actual solution. Okay. Now this is not the right answer, but just to give you another graphical representation, that would be our y-intercept. It's the point at which it crosses the y-axis. This one would actually be up here, but I'm just kind of showing you in general what it looks like. 24. Okay. So it gives me y equals 7. Now, if I was to graph this thing to help myself kind of understand the whole idea of intercepts, I would go to y equals 7. Let's say it's right there. And then these y equals, these are horizontal lines, right? Remember how we graph these? Horizontal lines. So looking at this line is never going to have an x-intercept because it runs parallel with the x-axis. So consequently, there is, for the x-intercept, there's no solution. It doesn't cross the x-axis. However, it does have a y-intercept, and it's 7. So the y-intercept, right, is just that coordinate point right there, 0, 7. Moving on to question 26. 26 says, write an equation of a line in slope-intercept form that has the following characteristics. So if you remember, slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. The 26 is about as easy as they come because they give you m and they give you b. So you just plug them right in. And you say y equals 3x minus 4. Right? Plugging this in for right there. Plugging this in for right there. 28, now it gets a little more difficult here because they're giving you the slope and they're giving you a point that it goes through. Okay, they're not giving me a b, so I can't just stick it right into y equals mx plus b. I need an intermediate equation. If you remember, this one was point slope form, and point slope form was this one. Right? The x1 and the y1 come from the coordinate point. The m is still the slope. So plugging this in, right, you basically, to remember, everything else, and the minus sign is included in the formula, and then we go ahead and plug in the actual value. So in this case, the y1 goes first, so the 3 goes right there. Oh, sorry, and I know, got a little ahead of myself. Sorry, we know the slope, they told us, right? It was 2. So I simply plug it in. Now that was plugged into point slope form, which is this right here. They don't want it in point slope form, they want it in y equals mx plus b. So we have to do a little simplifying, not too bad though. Y minus 3 equals 2x minus 8. I'll add 3 to both sides. And y equals 2x minus 5. And there you go, that is my actual answer right there. 30. And number 30 says, write an equation. They want same directions, but they're not even giving us a slope. All they're giving us is 2 points that the line goes through. Well, I'm going to have to use point slope formula again like I just used up here. You can see at the top of the screen. But that requires at least 1 point and a slope. I got 2 points. But that's fine, because I can use these 2 points to find my slope using my slope formula. We did about 8 of these at the beginning of the video. So I'm going to go 1 minus negative 3 and then 2 minus negative 3. Go ahead and add in the opposite in both of these. I'm looking at 4 over 5. Alright, is my slope. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and plug this in. I'm going to go ahead and use this point just because they're smaller. And I'm going to say y minus 1 equals 4 over 5 times x minus 2. And I'm going to have a fraction throughout this problem, so that is kind of annoying, but you know, we should be able to deal with that in Algebra 2 by now. Okay, distribute, and I'm looking at y minus 1 equals 4/5 x minus 8 over 5. And then I got to add 1 to both sides. Okay, so I'm going to say y equals 4/5 x minus 8 over 5 plus 5 over 5, right? Because 1 is the same as 5 over 5, finding common denominators. And y equals 4/5 x minus 3 over 5. And there is y equals mx plus b with a slope of 4 over 5 and a y-intercept of negative 3 over 5. Okay. 32. 32 is a graph, but it's really all the same information. Now if you look at it, okay, I'm just kind of give you a quick little picture here. They're showing you this line right here, and they're telling you it goes to the point negative 2, 1, and the coordinate point 5, 1. Well, if you look at this thing, you should realize that it is a horizontal line, meaning the slope is 0. It has a y-intercept of, you can see the y's are 1. Okay. So you remember, if it's a horizontal line, that the answer to that is y equals 1. Okay. Understanding. Now, how did I do that? I know how to graph this, so I ran the process backwards. Right? You got to be able to kind of work through that. 34. 34 says, write an equation of the line in point slope form that has the following characteristics. So they only want point slope, so that means I don't have to actually work it out. 34 is always one of the most missed questions, and they're really trying to trick you here because they're not giving you a point. Well, they are. They're just not given to you real clearly. So remember, this is a y-intercept. Okay, so remember, y-intercepts are technically coordinate points. So the b, or the y-intercept, is really the coordinate point 0, -4. So there's my slope and there's my coordinate point. So I'll simply plug that into point slope form. Now be careful here, because I'm plugging in a negative value into the slope, and the slope formula has a negative. So really, that's what I'm going to plug into. So you're going to see eventually it's going to be a positive right there. So I'll clean this up just a little bit. They don't want me to put it into slope-intercept form. So technically I could leave it like that. I could even get rid of the 0, but that's technically plugging it into point slope form. 36.